I'm continuing to finesse the front of the car, inner wheel arches, stuff like that. But also we have this phenomenon where the front of the car is not properly supported. This is the fiberglass. I'll swivel you around and see the rest of it. The fiberglass section is not rigidly connected to the chassis. Now, I'm told that previously there may have been some bracketry going from the bumper islands down here up to the front of the inner wing, and also there was a little bracket going from the radiator support to a bolt just here. But combined with the fact that we have the damage where the hinges were poking through the front, clearly that wasn't enough. In fact, the bracket down here, well, there was no sign of it when I had the car. So anyway, now I did in a previous point make these brackets, which were fixed onto the inside of the nose, just in here. But since then, of course, I've changed the height of the radiator frame, so I can't use that anymore. It's the wrong shape. So what I've done is I've made these things. Now these, the idea is that this flat surface here sits on the inside of that nose there. This part here fixes to the brackets inside, which I've fixed on the radiator frame. And this little shelf here is because, due to the bend and the tightness of the corner here, I can't get a bolt to go through in the right place. It would be right on the corner. So instead of that, I've decided to weld on this little shelf here, so the screws, rather than going forwards, they'll go downwards through this. And yeah, I'm quite pleased with it. They're quite neat. So I'll just bring you over. So this is the bracket that I'm talking about. This one in here is for the radiator itself, which may or may not prove to be the right place, but anyway, that's where it is at the minute. So these brackets go across in here, making a nice support shelf for the front of the nose, and a couple of bolts can go right through there, and some more bolts or screws can go downwards through this gutter to fix this up, so the up and the down are both taken care of, and there's a big surface area to be supported over the whole of this thing, shedding what's the word? Sharing the load. So we shouldn't get any more damage where the sharp point has gone through the fiberglass moulding and damaged it. So that's what I'm going to do now. So I need to decide. The exact position of where so you're moving every time. Let's put you in a slightly different place. Should the fiberglass be there or there or there? There's a bit of choice there. It may not be that important, actually, but it may be. So that's what I need to consider. Maybe there's some adjustability going to be required. Yeah, so by slotting, there's going to be holes drilled through here. By slotting this piece here, there could be some adjustment. Let's put that in again. Yeah, I think that's probably the answer. It's not very adjustable. It's probably the mid. I imagine it's the midpoint that is ideal. So it's not. So the fiberglass isn't being stressed either upwards or downwards. So yeah, just need to drill a couple of holes to suit the positioning of the brackets and and this support bracket, and there's two of these of course, and then I'll be able to have the nose resting in the correct, or at least a fixed position. I think structural rigidity is important. It does mean that the front of the nose is kind of hanging from this section, so it might be that I put something in here as well, but I need to decide exactly what that looks like, or what that could look like. So, holes drilled. Put the support shelf not like that, like this. Now I haven't slotted the holes yet, but this will certainly do to begin with. And I think I may put some rubber stuff underneath. That's another thing I could do. Gives a bit of packing upwards as well as softening any vibration, of course. Of course, there is a slight curve, so it's possible that I need a spacer on this one to push the bracket backwards. Yes. So with a bit of finger measurement, it seems that 3 washers needed on this side and 2 on the other. Of course, this is a function of where the radiator frame is actually fitted. So. Incidentally, this gutter here, now obviously it is indeed a gutter for rainwater, but on this edge goes the seal, the rubber seal, and nothing else. So the bonnet rear moulding does not go in here, for example. It's just the bonnet moulding sticks down this side of the gutter. But there's some other blemishes, like down here where I removed and replaced some of the nose support brackets, which have now been replaced again, so they need to be filled in, sorted out. There's a bit of a crack thing happening there. Move my lamps out of the way so you can actually see what I'm going to talk about. So one of the things which is a bit odd is the drain for the gutter around the edge of the bonnet, and there's a hole, you won't see it from there, but there's a hole here that was there from the factory, and there's a hole here which I've just drilled a moment ago. And what those do, of course, is to allow water collecting in the gutter to drain out. But where does it drain out to? Well, in this case, straight onto the bottom of the inner wing there, and it's exactly the same on the other side. So what I'm going to do to improve on that is to copy an idea which was present on my Reliant scimitar, which I had, may have mentioned before. And I'm going to attach a drain tube and take a rubber tube down to underneath the car. And to do that, I'm going to use these things. I'm not exactly sure what these are sold as, but 10mm pipe insert. I think they're used when you use plastic pipes. But anyway, what I can do is to push them into the little hole here, and then of course I can put a rubber pipe on the back and route it down onto the ground. So I've got a few spare of those, so I shall do that. So that's a pilot hole that I just drilled. Now when they say 10mm, I guess that's the outside diameter of the plastic pipe, and of course this is the inside diameter if it goes up the inside. You know what? I think I'll use 8mm. Right, I'll say that again. So these things are used for 10mm plastic pipes, I believe, but of course that's the outside diameter of the pipe, and what this is designed to go into is the inside, and therefore it's smaller than 10. And in fact I'm going to use 8mm to do that. And it's still a very... I think it might need a little bit of filing. And what I shall do is I'll put the tube in and I'll fix it in place, let's say up to about there, with some P48 fibre filler. There it goes. So that will then become permanently attached. You can see it hanging down. Bring you down. So there it is, hanging below. So I'll put a fillet of P40 around there to hold it in place and make it watertight and so on. And that will provide a nice place to put a nice rubber pipe onto. And here is the second one. Seems to have gone more neatly than the first one. Not sure why that is, but anyway, there it is, and there it is hanging down. And yeah, that should make a neater job of draining the bonnet aperture without it filling up these spaces down here. So that should be quite nice. So I'm just going to file back these holes, which I don't really need here. So as far as supporting the outside corners of the front wings is concerned, rather than use a bracket between here and here, what I've decided to do is I've made these things, and what these will do is they'll go up to the outside edge of the wing on a couple of bolts, and this end will be mounted to the chassis. But it just needs a bit of a strange shaped plate down there to enable this to bolt up to it. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Weld that on, drill a hole, paint it, put it on, another couple of bolts, and that should be that. More Earl Grey before I do that. You can't beat it. Okay. Hello, Jessica. Right, so I've got my plate welded on. Now I'm just going to find the ideal place to fit this thing. I think it's about there. Now obviously this thing here is made from tube. It's not intended to be much of a load bearing thing, it's more in compression and tension that I'm interested. So anyway, that means there's a bit of bendage is available. I suppose there is a possibility that it could fracture at some point in the future, but I'll cross that bridge if I come to it. So anyway, the point is that I can now attach this in here at some point that I choose, bolt it onto the fiberglass wing, and that should be good. Right, so I've drilled my holes and I've got these nice big thick galvanised washers, because these are going to be on the inside of the wheel arch, courtesy of Wicks. Much thicker than you will often find. Is that at least 2 millimeters thick? Anyway, bolt those on to the fiberglass panel with stress relief from these. And there we go. That's pretty good. If only I'd painted this bit first. Oh well. And now, of course, the other side. Right, that looks pretty neat. So the same process again. Well, I modified it by putting it in the vise and twisting it with an adjustable spanner on one end so it fits. Fits pretty well. So I think my hole is going to be there. More Earl Grey. Nearly done with this now. Just a couple of holes in here. Yeah, I still wish I'd painted the brackets, but I'll have to wait, I guess. Anyway, so look at that. No flex at all. So the corner of the wing is supported onto the chassis. Lovely. think I tighten that up. Yeah, so I reckon the nose is nice and strong now. And just a side point, you'll notice perhaps that the two sides are not the same. So this one is like this, and this one is like this. Just the way they did it, but I think originally the battery was mounted in here, which may or may not be relevant. I think it's unlikely it'll go back there, to be honest with you, but anyway, yeah, nicely fixed, I think. Nose job completed.